Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome back. Today I have a Tryndamere Baron lane against Jax, who is another counter to Tryndamere, just like Gragas was. This game was a pretty close call. I had a Dragon lane not do very well, so kind of thought that you guys know what we can really do, as a Baron lane to influence the map when the rest of the lanes aren't doing very well. So this strategy in the lane is going to be the same concept I did with the Gragas video, in which every time I have Demolish, I'm going to do a hard push to the turret, use Demolish, and try to get some plates to get an early gold advantage on Jax. Now the key to any counter matchup is understanding the micro between you and the opposing champion. I know that Jack will have a much easier time against Tryndamere post level 5 when he gets his ultimate, so I need to take advantage of these early levels in which Tryndamere has an advantage. Thankfully, Jax here makes a mistake. So if you didn't know, the minions do a lot of damage when you're low leveled. So in this situation, when he engages me and my blue minions, all of his damage, the majority of that probably came from minions. And thankfully he made that mistake and it gave me first blood. Now I'm going to use my Demolish proc, and unlike the last video, I'm actually going to be smart here and recall once I do that. So once I hit my proc, I walk back and try to get to my turret, and I see Lee Sin just pop up from the jungle. I'm like, oh poop, maybe he didn't see me, and I don't know why he didn't engage it. I probably would have died really easily if he did engage on me, but I'm not questioning it, and yes, he is using his sweeping lens to take out a pink ward. For my first item, I'm going to purchase Blade of the Ruined King. 1, because it gives me attack speed. 2, because it gives me lifesteal, and 3, I can keep up with Jax if he tries to get away from me. So in this small trade, I have an item advantage on Jax and he still beat me. And this is why it's so important for you to understand if you're going to meta a champion to understand the strengths and weaknesses of all of your matchups. Now the second your lane opponent disappears from your point of vision, you ping missing, no matter if they're in lane or if they're in river. This is to let your team know I don't know where my guy is. Now you'll notice here that I'm setting up a freeze. I'm not going to hurt these last 2 caster minions until I know that the rest of the red minions are going to be accumulating and overtake my blue minions. If you're curious about how to set up a freeze or what type of freezes there are, I do have a wave management video in my playlist called Tutorials. Now I know that Jax is recalling, so I'm going to ping missing because that's lane etiquette, and I'm going to push this wave all the way to his turret and then recall safely. You're going to notice that I'm probably not going to proc Demolish, and this is because I need to play safe, especially because Jax is such a tough opponent to Tryndamere. So if Jax had played his card right, especially in this situation, he probably could have won this lane. So you'll see here that I don't push this lane out hard enough, that Jax returns and the wave still hasn't hit his turret. This means that if he had conducted proper wave management, he could have frozen this wave and completely screwed me over. I don't have a way of competing against Jax in a 1v1, which means that if he had set up a freeze, I would have no chance to compete against him in lane. Unfortunately, he decided to push his hard and allow me to set up my own freeze. And you'll notice a turning point here. I 1v1'd him again, and look at how healthy he is compared to me. If I try to fight him all in, I'll probably lose that fight. The only option for me now is just to play safe and patiently and wait for him to make another mistake. The way I'll do this is by conducting proper wave management and keeping the wave closer to my side versus his side. And at this point, Jax and I are playing ultimate chicken, which means who's going to use their ultimate first. And you'll notice that Jax is trying to find ways to take my health down, and once he puts me low enough, he will prematurely use his ultimate. I called it. Okay, so I disengaged to wait for his active to go down. That way I can re-engage. I think he assumed that I used my ultimate too because he jumps in on me, so I use my exhaust, my ignite, and my ultimate to make sure he dies. The other reason I engaged on him in this situation is because I see Lee Sin in center, so I know that he doesn't have any backup. And to ensure that this wave is properly managed, I will push this to the enemy turret, so by the time I get back, it's back in a neutral state. Now while I farm this, I want to talk to you guys about my second item, and that's going to be Wit's End, for 2 reasons. Jax's ultimate has a passive, which gives me magic damage every 3 hits. The second thing is that his Empower also helps him do magic damage. Me purchasing Wit's End allows me to have magic resist to avoid additional damage I can avoid. Now you'll see that I pinged on my way to Dragon, and I had assumed that's where I was going to go, but I see Jax went back to Baron lane. Normally, when it's that close to spawning, most Baron laners go towards the Dragon lane. I'm assuming what Jax is going to do is push this wave in and then move over to Dragon, which is a very smart move. So what I need to do is counter his push, and unfortunately he managed to get a plate because just how fast Jax auto attacks. Like, look at that's nuts. He already caught up to the damage I've done to his turret in a matter of seconds. And he disappears from the minimap. So I'm like, oh crud, I have 2 options. Either I can go to Dragon and try to see if I can meet him there, or force him to return. So I'm going to push this wave, and I'm going to see if I can make him come back to Baron lane to stop me from pushing his wave. Now when I saw the map, or when I dragged it to see the fight, it looked like my team was winning, but then out of nowhere, the enemy team just starts killing all my allies, and it really sucks. However, I think that this was the best play to make, because if I had gone to Dragon with them, I probably would have died too. In this situation, I came in a little late, and all of the enemy was pretty low. The other thing is that TF just overstays his welcome, and I have Ignite, so I'm just going to walk up to him and ignite him. And you can see the chat just going crazy that Jinx died. And so I'm going to slow this fight down so you guys can understand the method of thinking I have here. Nunu and Senna are already on their way back, so I'm going to focus on the person who has Smite because Dragon isn't at Smite health yet. So I'm going to kill Lee Sin before it gets to Smite so I give Nunu a chance to get here on time. Thankfully it all worked out, Nunu got there, I survived, and we managed to take Dragon. If I had focused Lulu or Xayah, I probably would have lost Dragon for the team, and I probably would have died. So to me, this part of the video is the funniest. So you see that Jax was just there, so I'm leaving, and I even ping Jinx to retreat because there's 3 people there. She manages to die anyway, and she just pings me that my enemy is missing, and it's just like, I know, that's why I told you to retreat. But, you know, you can't make everyone happy. But thankfully, as a whole team, we've managed to secure Rift Herald and Dragon, and I'm about to take first turret. Now I want you to take notice as to how I path towards middle lane when I'm done with this turret. I don't go through the river, I go through the enemy's jungle, and the reason for this is because I want to see if I can catch someone from behind or trying to retreat. Thankfully, I managed to catch out Lee Sin, who's hiding in this bush. You see him pop up in the mini-map and he disappears, which I know he's in the bush. And he's trying to recall. And the reason I'm interrupting his recall is because I know he's trying to buy an important item, or maybe a component of his item. The longer I keep him in play, the longer he has to buy his item. And this is where I kind of get blindsided. Like, there's 3 enemies in middle lane, and I chased a Jax, and that was kind of dumb of me. And, you know, sometimes people make dumb plays, and sometimes I'm those dumb people. And Jax gets away pretty easily, because that's just what Jax does, you know? He's just a master at getting away. And the interesting thing here that happened is that Jax just used his ultimate. If you go back, you can see the golden aura he has around him. And he still decides to engage. And this is why micro is important. When he engages, he uses his leap strike, which means he cannot disengage from me. So when he uses his counter strike, you just kind of walk away from him, and then you just exhaust him, and then you chase him back in there. He has no way of countering that because he already uses his quit. And he's about to die here, and he's escaping so well, and the minions manage to kill him. And so here's what I want you to do. Whenever you see that surrender button pop up, if it's a definitive loss, I still want you to press no, and try to practice certain things you don't normally do. If this game was a for sure loss, I'd probably be back at Baron lane practicing my freezes, practicing my hard pushes, practicing my slow pushes. So when I do have a chance to play the game, I've already learned those skills. Your team and the enemy team is bound to make mistakes. For example, TF is about to make a big one. You see him just bursting me down like crazy. I'm about to die. But he also has 4 teammates next to him, so he's super confident. And at some point, everyone just ditches him, and he still stays in middle lane. He has no vision because I put my ward there, and I took off his ward before he broke mine. And I just jump him, and he dies because he won't be able to 1v1 a Tryndamere. And these are the small mistakes that people make. Like, nobody came back to help him out, and I have my QSS, so that's an easy kill. He uses his flash and his ignite, so he burned everything to try to escape from me. And these little mistakes you can capitalize on. Sometimes people miss that, and sometimes we're in the wrong mentality. You see the surrender button, you already feel like you're lost. You feel defeated. But the point of the game isn't to always win. Sometimes the point of the game is to learn something. And here's an interesting bait. I'm assuming that TF pinged that I use my ultimate because Lee Sin confidently dashes into me, and I have my ultimate and exhaust, so this is an easy death. So far, Jax made a mistake, Twisted Faith made a mistake, and now Lee Sin made a mistake. And you gotta think about the fact that individual scores don't matter. At the end of the day, the way you win the game is by taking the Nexus. So, my Dragon lane, together, they're not having the best sort of game. And that's fine, it happens, it is what it is. I won my lane, and I know that I can help carry this game to victory. The other thing you have to think about is how the enemy team is playing. If you've noticed, there was about 3 people jumping Jinx and Senna, who have a really low score. Their gold probably isn't that much, but they let Nunu take middle turret pretty freely. That's pretty interesting, isn't it? If you think about it, it seems like the enemy team is more focused on getting kills than getting objectives. And right now they're going to have a team fight in the middle while Nunu and I freely take this Rift Herald. And that's a big mistake that you need to capitalize on and understand. Kills don't matter at the end of the day, taking the Nexus does. And Rift Herald is a very big tool to take the Nexus. I was hoping Nunu would give it to me because I was going to drop a Baron lane, but it doesn't matter as long as the team secured it. And we are still a part of the team fight, so we managed to take a Rift Herald, and now we're going to kill Xayah. Dragon is up, and I love the duality of this game, because first, the enemy team made a mistake by staying in middle lane, and now my team is making a mistake by staying middle lane. The best play here would have been to all come together in Dragon, and then turn around when the enemy tried coming to Dragon as well. However, that's not how that worked out. Everyone is split up, and this is a fantastic play, and I'm going to slow it down so you see what I did. So, Lee Sin is going to use his dash, so I know he doesn't have his dash, so I get in the way so he Qs me instead of the Dragon. It played off. I spin away from the pit, so if he does Q, he comes to me. And he has to flash. He flashes too late. Nunu secured Infernal Dragon, and we also do a clean sweep. We killed everyone except for Lulu in his team fight. And again, all of these mistakes that the enemy team is making wouldn't have existed if we had surrendered early. So I ping to attack the turret because I assume that he's going to use his Rift Herald to take it down. But he doesn't. I'm telling him, hey, if you're not going to drop Rift Herald, I'm going to go ahead and buy my Infinity Edge. By pinging, I can afford this now. He still doesn't drop Rift Herald, so I know he's not going to. So I take hella damage, and I just kind of run away to get to safety. Before I do, though, I do have to do some counter jungling, which I take these Raptors, and I finally recall after I take them. And I want you to notice my score. I'm at 8-0. And after I purchase my Infinity Edge, I'm thinking about buying Navori's Quick Blades just to spin to win. However, I realize that I'm pretty susceptible to dying and I have a really large bounty. So I change Navori Quick Blades and I start pre-ordering the Guardian's Angel. So just in case I do die, I don't give away a bounty. So you'll notice that our Jinx is 1-5 and our Senna is 1-2. And Jinx is still doing her little solo push in Dragon Lane and is going to get caught out by TF again. And it's fine, it happens, but at this point, during the actual game, I get a little tilted, and, you know, it's fine, it happens. I'm not saying anything, but, you know, your mentality sometimes gets a little messed up. So I do a really, really stupid play here, in which I try to 1v1, or 1v3 Jax, Lee Sin, and a turret, and you'll see that happen right now, and it's just embarrassing, but, you know, you gotta admit that you make mistakes, and you gotta be okay with it. And you can just see just how fast Jax is just killing me. Like, I do everything. I don't even take the turret, so this set was pointless. I mean, I killed Jax, but I don't think he's worth any gold anyway. And I just ended up giving Lee Sin like 1 billion gold because he shut me down. And throughout the next portion of the video, you'll see that the plays I do aren't really coinciding with the plays I did before. I do risky plays, and I do some dumb plays, and that's just because eventually getting tilted in a game makes you do stupid stuff. Thankfully, this one played off. Like, Lee Sin died. I don't have my ultimate, so if I had died, I would have died anyway, and that would have sucked. And now that I do have my ultimate, I spin in, and I don't even realize this, but nobody uses stun yet. So I just walk in. I got stunned by Jax, by Twisted Fate, by Xayah, and by Lulu, and I just wasted my ultimate for really no reason. That, again, was a dumb play. So I'm doing dumb play after dumb play after dumb play. And this is the reason why sometimes people consider these games coin flips. Like, if the game had ended here, and I was 10-1, we can just blame my team, but the last play that was done by me, and I did the stupid play. I am as equal fault to the game being lost than they are. You can never blame just one person. Always, at least. And here's a cool little trick that you can do with the sweeping lens. So you see Lee Sin is coming towards his Krugs. So I'm going to wait the tri-bush and turn on my sweeping lens, and you'll see him appear, and then I'll engage on him, and he shows up right there. And then bonk, there he is, hello. He'll kick me out, he'll use his ultimate, and I'll take his farm. But just that was a cool little FY if you didn't know how to do that. And here are some quick instincts. Jax and Lee Sin just jump me out of nowhere, and I just, leave. I say, see you later. Now that I escaped danger, I'm on my way to middle lane. Xayah and Lulu are overextended. They don't even realize I'm here, and this is going to be a free double kill for me. I kill Lulu first because she can enchant me and slow me and do all that crazy stuff, so she dies first. And so this is how you orchestrate a team, whether they be high elo or low elo. I'm pinging that I'm going to attack the dragon. I also ping to attack the center turret. Nulu, you can see he's coming on his way to Dragon, and he's pretty much halfway through. I'm like, no, don't come here. I can solo Dragon myself. And he returns, he goes back and pushes Baron lane. And so it's crazy how 5 strangers that don't even talk can communicate through pings, right? We managed to take middle turret, we managed to push out Baron lane, and we managed to take Dragon all consecutively. So practice your pings. Practice communicating to your team what you want them to do for you. And again, this game is literally not pre-made. This is me playing solo queue like I generally do. And yes, I just fat fingered my ultimate and I ping myself saying my ultimate is on cooldown now. Good going. So whenever you lose a game, you have to think about the reason as to why you lost that game. Was it because you were not focusing very well? Was it silly plays, or was it something else? In this game, we had a close call when I dived in and I got stun locked. That could have been the play that cost the whole game for us, but thankfully it didn't. And you'll see that Jinx is still doing her own thing at Dragon Lane. I haven't even bothered her. No one is pinging her, letting her do her thing. She killed Xayah, who was super far ahead earlier. Then I was on a killing spree. Everyone was doing fantastic, and that's all because the enemy team was so hyper-focused on getting kills as opposed to objectives that my team was able to recuperate. They have all 3 dragons, so they are super strong no matter how far behind they are. And you'll see that Jinx is taking a turret. That's the 2nd turret she took in a minute. And she's just been a menace this whole game. Even though she's been AFK farming, we'll call it, she's still a nuisance to the enemy team. And you saw that Nunu wanted to go for Baron, and I was like, why? There's 2 people that are dead, you might as well take the Nexus. And I used my Guardian Angel here offensively so my team can focus on getting the Nexus while the enemy was focused on killing me. I kind of talked about that in the last video, where if you can end the game, end the game. There's no reason for you to prolong that, because then you can make a mistake here and there. And yeah, GG. I hope this game was entertaining and fun for you guys to watch. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, or emotional outbursts, put them in the comments below and I'll be happy to answer them for you, or even just to talk to you. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more Wild Rift content. Take it easy, Summoners, and I hope your climb this season is much easier than it was last season. Talk to you guys soon. Bye bye for now.